I never believed in ghosts, not until that fateful night when I stumbled upon Whispering Pines, a forsaken place cloaked in a shroud of darkness. The moon hung low in the sky, casting eerie shadows as I trudged deeper into the desolation. The wind whispered through the pines, its mournful sighs echoing like the lamentations of the lost souls that were said to haunt this cursed forest. As I walked, I recalled the campfire tales of my youth, tales of spectral apparitions, chilling wails, and eerie happenings that sent shivers down the spines of even the bravest souls. My friends and I had often laughed at such stories, dismissing them as mere superstitions, but now, alone in this malevolent woods, I couldn't help but question my skepticism. The dense undergrowth clawed at my legs, and the gnarled branches seemed to reach out for me. The crunch of leaves beneath my boots was the only sound to break the unsettling silence. And then, there it was, a dilapidated, rotting cabin emerging from the darkness. It stood like a sentinel of doom, its windows shattered and roof sagging. A chilling breeze swept through the cabin, the whispered promises of secrets long buried. Against my better judgment, I pushed open the creaking door and stepped inside. The air was heavy with the scent of decay, and the flickering candlelight danced eerily across the walls. As I explored the cabin, my footsteps echoed ominously. In the decrepit living room, I found an old, dusty journal lying on a table. Its pages were filled with the frantic scrawlings of a tormented soul, each entry more disturbing than the last. The author wrote of a presence that dwelled within these walls, a malevolent force that tormented anyone who dared to enter Whispering Pines. I scoffed at the words, believing them to be the ramblings of a madman. But then, I heard it, the faintest of whispers, like the sigh of the wind, but with a sinister undertone. Fear clenched my heart as I followed the sound to a decrepit bedroom. There, in the dim light, I saw her, a ghostly figure, her pale face twisted in agony. She drifted toward me, her eyes filled with despair. She reached out a translucent hand, and as her cold fingers brushed my skin, a chilling vision of the past flooded my mind. I saw a young woman, trapped in this cabin, subjected to unspeakable horrors at the hands of a deranged man. Her torment had left an indelible mark on this place, a malevolence that refused to be forgotten. The ghostly woman's mournful cries filled the room, and I could feel her pain as if it were my own. Terrified and overwhelmed, I fled from the cabin, stumbling back into the foreboding woods. The moonlight seemed to mock me, casting long, twisted shadows that danced in the darkness. The Whispering Pines whispered no more, they screamed with the voices of the tormented. I stumbled upon an ancient graveyard, overgrown with weeds and moss-covered stones. The inscriptions on the graves were faded, but one name stood out, Ezekiel Blackwood, the very man who had tormented the woman in the cabin. It was said that his malevolent spirit still lingered in these woods, forever bound to the darkness he had created. My heart raced as I realized the truth. The curse of Whispering Pines was not limited to that forsaken cabin. It seeped into every tree, every rock, and every shadow. I was trapped in a nightmare, surrounded by vengeful spirits who would stop at nothing to make me pay for disturbing their eternal torment. As I stumbled through the haunted forest, the very earth beneath me seemed to shift and tremble. The trees twisted and contorted, their branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. Ghostly apparitions materialized from the mist, their hollow eyes fixed upon me. I tried to escape, but the forest itself conspired against me, leading me deeper into its heart. Time lost all meaning, and I could no longer distinguish between reality and hallucination. The tortured souls of Whispering Pines whispered their secrets and curses into my ears, their voices a cacophony of despair. And then, in the darkest depths of the forest, I saw her again, the ghostly woman. This time, she was not alone. A legion of tormented spirits surrounded her, their eyes filled with anger and accusation. They pointed their spectral fingers at me, their voices rising in a chorus of condemnation. I fell to my knees, tears streaming down my face as the weight of their collective anguish bore down upon me. I knew that I was doomed, forever trapped in this cursed place, a plaything of the vengeful spirits of Whispering Pines. The last thing I heard before the darkness consumed me was the haunting whisper of the ghostly woman, her voice a mournful lament that echoed through the depths of my soul. "You should never have come here," she whispered, and in that moment, I understood the true horror of my fate. Whispering Pines had claimed me as its own, and I would spend eternity in the suffocating embrace of its malevolence, a warning to all who dared to venture into its haunted depths.